Gonna change the rear differential on my 2021 Wrangler Sport Unlimited. It's the 2.0 turbo engine. Pretty easy process. So it's got just under 30,000 miles on it. I'm gonna need a pan to catch the differential fluid that I drain out of it, a rag for cleaning up, possibly some brake clean for the drain plug and the fill plug. Might be overkill, but I've got it just in case. Got some Teflon tape for the plugs. Got the yellow chemical resistant version. I'm going with Valvoline, and these crush bags are pretty great, 75/90. I'm gonna see if those fill it up. I've got a little bit extra of the Mobile One 75/90 in case I need it. Got a 1/2 inch ratchet with a step down socket to 3/8 and an extension if I need it. Don't think I'm gonna need it, but just in case. All right, let's get under the vehicle. No need to jack up the vehicle for this one. The plug that I'm looking at right here is the fill plug. I want to make sure I get that guy out first, just in case. You never want to start draining it, then find out that you can't refill it. And the drain plug is around the back over here, right about there. And that's the same size. And so I'll go after both of those. All right, so the first thing I'll do is try to back out this fill plug, and I'm gonna have my drain pan underneath just in case there's any little bit that comes out. Oh, that comes off really nice. That's good. I just want to make sure I can get that guy out. Probably get it the rest of the way with my hands. All right, that came out really easy. I'm going to leave that out, which will help it drain better. And here is the drain plug, as I told you before, driver's side, right here. So I get that same ratchet in there. I've got my drain pan underneath. Getting ready for that. I'm trying to do this at an angle. There it is. Just got to feel for it to catch and then slowly back it out. And once it starts to get loose enough to where you can kind of feel that you could get it with your fingers, you want to get your drain pan ready. You don't want to be draining this bad boy without having that ready. And that's just a matter of feel. I think that's loose enough. Now I'm going to have my drain pan underneath this, but at a little bit of an angle so that when it starts to drain, it's going to want to squirt towards the driver's tire a little bit because of gravity. So I want to just be sure that I'm ready for that. It's all about angles. All right, here comes the plug, I think. It feels like it's really loosening up now. And, oh. There it is. So there we go. All right. And everybody will tell you, check your drain plug. And it's magnetic and it's got some junk from the differential attached to it magnetically. So you want to make sure that you clean that really good. And then move your drain pan so that it's catching all of this, because the stream will change a little bit as it starts to drain. So this differential fluid looks pretty decent, but it looks like it needs to be changed at the same time. So I'm gonna let that drain, and I'll take you back over to where I clean up the plugs. All right, can you mix these up? Yeah, probably, but the drain plug's a little bit longer, and it's got that magnet, and the fill plug doesn't have the magnet. It's a little bit shorter. So this is the crud I'm telling you about that sticks to the magnet. It's magnetic. So it picks up little shavings and filings from the differential gears. Not anything bad, unless you notice big chunks in there, which I don't. So that looks normal. And I see some of the factory thread sealant that they used when they put this in. So I'm going to clean these two off and put thread sealant on them and get them ready for the next phase. I'm using a little pick. Everybody's familiar with these, Harbor Freight.
and it just helps get the crud out of the threads. You just want to be careful not to damage those threads, but the wire brush kind of helped a little bit, but I found that I needed to do this because it just wasn't getting the stuff out. Is it necessary to get this out? I don't know. I'm just doing it. I want them nice and clean. So I'm using a combination of brake cleaner and this pick and the wire brush to get them as clean as possible, and then I'll put the new Teflon tape on them and we'll be ready to go. Meanwhile, it's still trickling back there, so I'm just gonna keep letting it drain while I do this. All right, I got both these pretty clean. Little brake cleaner, little wire brush, and a little pick, and just some elbow grease. And I was thinking about, how do you remember which one is which in case you forget? The one with the magnet, the one without the magnet. Think about it. The one with the magnet should be on the bottom because that's where all the metal would settle and adhere to the magnet. So I always have this magnetic one on the bottom, which is the drain plug, and then the other plug on the side, which is the fill plug. I think if you got them backwards, it wouldn't matter a whole lot as long as you were pretty good about changing your fluid, but this is just an extra step that they put in to help keep those little tiny shavings that happen inside the differential naturally to collect on this magnet so that we can get rid of it whenever we do a change. So I'll put the Teflon tape on it now and we'll get back under the Jeep. All right, Jeep calls for 25 foot-pounds, and you can use the German Gutentite if you want, but I have a torque wrench. I want to use it. Here it is. It should get to 25 pretty quick. All right, that did not work. All right. Switch to the Craftsman half inch to see if I get a better torque response than that Pittsburgh thing I got from Harbor Freight. There it is. That felt a lot more real at 25 foot-pounds than the Pittsburgh felt. I'll have to check that out. It might be the angle, I don't know what, but that felt like the right amount of torque on that fill bolt, or that drain bolt. Okay, so it's pretty important to get the drain plug back in properly before you start filling this. It's supposed to take about 2 quarts, so I'm going to clean this opening just a little bit, try not to get any mud in there. I'm going to start with this Mobile 1. I think I can get a pretty good angle of this. Yeah. Thank you, Jeep. I'll just squeeze. That's about a half a quart, so I'm just going to squeeze that in there until that's empty. That's your telltale that you've got enough fluid in there, is when it starts to drool out, but you also have to kind of watch your angles because sometimes just the angle causes some to drip out, and that doesn't mean it's full. There's one. And I pre-clipped these little squeeze bags, so they're ready to go for me when I get under here. Let's do this without spilling it all over the driveway. Here's where you have to kind of take your time a little bit, people. I'm squeezing it in there. Try not to hurry. I don't want to get differential oil all over the driveway if I can help it. So just take your time. This stuff was at AutoZone. It was something like $36 for 2 quarts. So pretty good, I guess. Probably cheaper at other places, but I thought it was a good deal. And I really like these squeeze crush bags for this reason. You just get it in there and there's no fussing with angles and that kind of a thing. A little bit, but Not like with those plastic shell bottles. This actually works just better. You get it in there, put the lid back on, get a little wipe down. What I'll do with the residue that's left in this crush bag is I'll pour it into my Mobile One bottle and just have those just sitting as my backup. One thing that I forget sometimes about this is that you not only have to clip the top, but you have to also peel off this. So do that in advance. Have it ready. Don't get it all over your driveway. Operation no mess. All right, so let's get this guy up in there, and we should start to see it dribble out after about half of this is in there, approximately. Maybe a little bit less. I'll get a rag under there. Oh, that could be it. That could, yeah, that's it. That's the signal. Whistle. So I'll let it sit for a minute. I don't want to mess with it. I'll let it sit, drip, and I'm going to put my finger in there and see if I can feel the differential fluid. A lot of times you can just put a pinky in there, feel it. I'll try that. Yeah, it's right there. It's right at the lid. So that means it's the right amount. So what I can do now is take the fill plug and ease it into there to cut that off. And then give that a little finger tight and then start wiping up the excess that's dripping down. And once again, torque to 25 foot-pounds is what Jeep calls for this model, for this type of differential. I think they're all pretty close to the same. Make sure your oils are off to the side where you don't knock them over like I usually do. And then get your torque wrench, which is back here. Get it on there and give it a tighten. And I can't do it with this one. I'm gonna have to use my shorty. Here's the thing that I thought was interesting. Here's this little rubber hose that's kind of clamped to the top of the frame, or the frame there. And it's got a little plug on the end, and it leads right into the axle, kind of like an emergency if you had to fill up your fluid hose. So kind of cool, Jeep, if that's what that's for. If it's not, I'm not sure what it's for. Let me know in the comments. Really sure why that isn't torquing at 25, but that is definitely tight enough. All right. Now I'm gonna let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes. Probably check it one more time. All right, I torqued it with my 1/2-inch Craftsman and feel a lot more confident about that. So that's sealed up back there, and that's how you do a rear differential on a 2021 Wrangler Unlimited with a regular old normal back axle. I hope that helps.